There's been a firing over on the New Orleans side of things. I'm talking about the New Orleans Pelicans fired David Griffin from his position as executive vice president of basketball operations. So the decision came after the team missed the playoffs for the fourth time in Griffin's sixth year tenure. So this past season they finished 21 and 61. So they're probably most likely going to be a lottery pick. And basically, to kind of break down some things, David Griffin before I believe leave before being dismissed of his duties for New Orleans Pelicans general manager position. He was the GM for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So we thought going into this 10 year, things are going to be pretty good. He did draft Zion. He did trade for CJ McCollum. He did trade for Lonzo at that one point in time. Also for DeJounte Murray, Brandon Ingram. The list goes on and on and on, as well too. But throughout his 10 years, I already talked about, Zion being hurt, but plagued by injuries. You can say that, particularly key players like obviously your franchise players, Zion Williamson, CJ McCollum. Obviously, Ingram had the blood clot situations, and I think was it an index finger for DeJounte Murray? What major injury did he have?
He broke his hand and then he came back and tore his Achilles.
So
Real tough.
crazy. So
Yeah.
crazy. So despite drafting Zion Wilson, who's number one, the Pelicans never won a playoff series during Griffin's time as head coach of basketball operations as well too. But this is gonna mark a new chapter in the Pelicans era. So I kind of want to put things or send things over to you, Carl. How do you feel about David Griffin as a GM and also being fired in this new chapter that they're going towards?
Real quick, Demetrius already off to a good start. He just hit a bucket. I'm surprised he ain't shoot nobody. But I think that it's really tough, like that they fired him after this year. Uh, because this year to me had nothing to do with the talent you put on the team. You didn't even get to see the talent together. It was just injuries. Like the DeJounte, I'm pretty sure when he broke his hand, that was game one. If it wasn't game one, it was game two, but I'm pretty sure it was game one where he broke his hand. So it's like you already lost your big offseason acquisition the first game. Then Zion didn't play for who knows how long. I think he'll end up playing like maybe 30 games or something like that this year. That has nothing to do with David Griffin. And also Ingram missed a bunch of time. McCollum, like Jose Alvarado. Then the only guy who was healthy for most of the year, Trey Murphy, ended up like separating his shoulder. So like their whole season just was, one of those like just injuries. You can't win if your entire team and all your best players are injured. So I think it's kind of a tough position. I think he did do a lot of things to get good pieces around Zion. Like CJ McCollum, I think was a really good pickup and Brandon Ingram. So yeah, I think it's tough. I think he's really more so, I think, just a symptom of them trying to reset and turn the page and hopefully start fresh. I just don't know how fresh you can get when Zion is your star player. At this point in time, it just doesn't feel like he's reliable. He feels very much like Embiid, to be honest with you, in that regard.
Mhm.
And you're never really gonna be able to go anywhere when your best player doesn't play.
No, I agree with you on that in that aspect. And I was talking to one of my friends the other day, and I was just like, it's kind of crazy seeing like the Shays of the world, Kate Cunningham, Tyrese Halliburton, De'Aaron Fox, all these other players like who kind of came around the same time or a couple of years after him that have had multiple playoff bursts or at least made a playoff berth. I mean, I know Zion kind of technically last year helped his team get to the playoffs, but he wasn't available. Like in the playing game, he went stupid, hurt his hamstring, so we never
Yep.
got to see him play in the playoffs. And it feels like he's been in the league for a decade. You know what I'm saying? So
Oh,
that's just kind of crazy to think about.
oh, wow. Real quick, it looks like Pods just got injured like bad.
Bad, bad knees.
Not his knee, but it looked like his groin or something. Something that he's like limping around. We gonna see.
Oh my God, man, that's crazy. So, I mean, obviously, David Griffin has experience from a GM perspective of bringing a championship to Cleveland. And I think he did a great job with getting draft capital, getting a top pick, making essential trades, signing essential free agents. But like you said, the biggest thing was the injury. So do you think they just had to be changed, or do you think they should have still gave him a chance, but been like, hey, like if you're going to be the GM, let's just start fresh. And like you said, it starts from the top down from a roster standpoint with just kind of getting rid of Zion and then hitting the refresh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that he necessarily deserved to be fired because again, I think there was a lot of circumstances that were out of his control when it came to the team's performance. But I do just get from the organizational standpoint of trying to start over, especially I think that's what trading Brandon Ingram signals. Um, yeah, it's tough. I think, I don't really know what the direction is in New Orleans, to be honest with you right now. I don't know what they're trying to do, and I don't think they're gonna do anything unless Zion can play like at least 60 games or something like that. So I think it's gonna be a bad situation for whoever steps into that job.
Yeah, I feel like whoever steps into that job, like the owner and the GM, have to have a conversation on like what they want to. Because, like you said, everything is centered around Zion Wilson. So it's just like, yo, what are we gonna do with this guy? Because he's basically one of the main reasons why he's holding us back. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So we'll see what pick they get this year. Knowing the NBA with things they like to do, do you think they're a team that deserves the number one pick, or do you see it kind of going somewhere else? Because I feel like because back in the day, like they didn't have did they not have ownership at one point in time? Were they trying to sell the team?
David Stern, I'm pretty sure, owned the team. That's why he was able to, or either he or the NBA owned the team because that's why he was able to rescind that one trade. That would have brought, I think it was like Chris Paul to the Lakers.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
but I don't know if this honestly is a compared to like last year's draft felt like, it doesn't really matter if you're in the lottery, first pick, whatever. This year, I think those top five picks are all going to be really good.
Yeah.
I like Ace Bailey. I like Dylan Harper, of course, Cooper Flag. There's another guy who was on that Duke team, who's the center. I can't pronounce his last name, but it starts with an M.
Hmm.
Um, there's a couple other people that I'm forgetting. Oh, Edgecombe, and this just is like a really nice draft. So I
Hmm.
think that even if they don't get the number one pick, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if one of those guys has a better career than Cooper Flag, to be honest with you. Uh,
Hmm.
to me, Cooper is, a lot of times when you pick number one, you're just picking the best bet. So it's like I think that Cooper will definitely still be good, but I think that some of these other guys really have potential. So this is a good year to be bad if you're going to be bad one year.
No, no, I agree with you. I agree with you. Obviously, the NBA is not a what you know, who you know. I mean, but that's everything, with business in general as well too. Do you see David Griffin getting another GM opportunity in the near future?
Maybe. I just don't know, to be real, if he honestly, I think it's one of those things that just depends on how he's still viewed within some of these NBA circles. I don't know if it's something that like the us fans are really going to be able to tell because it's not like he was super successful. Again, like we said, I think it was some things that are out of his control, but um, it doesn't feel like he's still, regardless of injury or not, it doesn't feel like he put together like a juggernaut or something like that. It's not like he was Brad Stevens and put together, the Celtics team or the GM Sam Presti for the Thunder, put that team together. So I think that if there's somebody else, some young guy or something like that, he might get passed over.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that as well too. So it's unfortunate, like you said, the biggest thing was the injuries. So the choices you make kind of fall on you. So it's unfortunate, but I can definitely, just because of the injury sake, I can definitely see that happening. But I mean, at that point, if you're going to fire the GM, you might as well just have a clean state with the medical staff, coaching staff, all that as well too, dog.
Medical staff got to go for sure, for sure. Even if y'all, it's not y'all fault. It's just you can't happen.
Don't make sense. Another medical staff they got to go to is probably the Charlotte Hornets.
I think the Charlotte, if I'm being completely honest, the Charlotte Hornets need to fold. They either need to fold or like move to another. They can become the new Seattle Supersonics or something. But like, I think this just everything in that franchise is cursed. Yeah, because I don't
Yeah.
even think injuries were that big for them. Like LaMelo, he always misses time. That's another thing. Again, like I don't think that's LaMelo like Zion. I don't think that has anything to do with the training or whatever, But the
Mhm.
other people,
And then Brandon Miller, didn't he get like sat down for like season ending surgery or something too?
yeah. But his was also like I think it was maybe his shoulder or something like that.
Hmm.
Even then, some of these like really trash teams, like the Hornets, and they know they're gonna be trash and trying to be trash. Those guys could probably play again at some point in the season, but it's just like why?
Yeah, yeah. And then to wrap things up, speaking of, GMs in the hot seat, obviously Coach Bud got fired as well too. But do you think that their GM, former Cavs champion James Jones, is in the hot seat as well?
He should be. But
Absolutely.
I think the only reason he isn't is because a lot of these decisions it seems like are coming straight from the owner.
Mm. On some
And
Jerry Jones shit.
yeah, so it's like I think that they're hopefully the owner's smart enough to be like, well, I can't get mad at him for just doing what I told him to do.
Yeah. No, that's facts.